David Woodfield should be disfellowshipped, and why he's not disfellowshipped. Before we approach to that subject, we are gonna see who is David Woodfield and a bit of his background. David Woodfield, born in the United Kingdom, by the Midlands about 62 years ago, into a traditional family of Jehovah's Witnesses. About 30 years ago, he moved to southwest London to start a business of painting decorator. Later on he switched his business to cleaning and window cleaning services. More or less by that time he started to serve as an elder in Epsom congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses. However, by 2015 some of his closest friends noticed that David Woodfield started suffering from bipolar disorders. For example, he criticized publicly an 80-year-old woman directly from the platform because of her Italian accent. Started to be harsh and rude with his cleaners. Started to reprimand them without any reason at all. Shouting with his main cleaner for 30 minutes because of a parking place. And when playing football with friends, he used to tackle violently the ones who he doesn't like, which is a criminal offense. Notwithstanding, his behavior became worse since the summer of 2017. First, he prohibited his main cleaner of doing voice recordings in order to not gather evidence against him. Then he started to pick up with him because of smaller things. Arguing with him for no reasons at all. Putting down his wages, giving him contradicting instructions, accusing him of blasphemy, denying labor rights such as holiday pay and sick pay, which he does to all his cleaners. That means that he's stealing his own brothers. Accusing him of fraud. And finally on the 17th of October 2017, sacked him without notice. But why? By June 2017, Joanne and Alex Martin, the owners of Chessington Garden Centre, invited David Woodfield to be a Freemason. After a little hesitation, David Woodfield accepted the challenge and started his initiation rituals. Soon after, he realized that other elders of Jehovah's Witnesses were also Masons, such as Mike Witcher, who he used to criticize because of his lack of zeal. Woodfield's villainy did not end here. Half a year later, he visited the same 80-year-old sister who he mistreated before accused her of slanderous conversation because of she shared with others the fact that he had accused the cleaner of fraud, and had blackmailed him under that accusation. There are reports even that the old lady had been threatened with a judicial hearing in case she wouldn't stop. That is typical Freemasonic behavior. Once before, the cleaner was also threatened by another elder who is also a Freemason for raising issues which could place his qualifications at stake. That Freemason, Abel Paredes, was later punched in the face by another Jehovah's Witness inside the Kingdom Hall, which is an extremely rare situation between two Jehovah's Witnesses. He has also the reputation of threatening other witnesses with judicial commissions when his conduct has been questioned. However, because all the mistreatments from Woodfield were not enough to make the cleaner to quit, and resulted in some court actions against him, the Freemasons joined forces to hire prostitutes to get involved with him, and in exchange of an excellent job offer in their homeland, those prostitutes have been trying to approach to him. It has been even reported that David Woodfield had a cup of tea with one of them to convince her to carry on with that plan. There are also reports that the same lady maintained a relationship with a gigolo who also persuades her to persist on this plan. The MI5 also use assets to convince him to approach to that prostitute. But because the Freemasons were not able to get rid of him using that honey trap, they hired people to physically harm him in order to convince him to go away. Please have a look to the following scenes.
Hey mate.
What's wrong with you, Sam?
There's nothing wrong.
Fucking stupid, Sam.
Hey mate.
Don't do that, Sam. Fucking
I call the police.
You're dumb, don't do
I call the police. I call the police. I call the police.
Don't do that, Sam. You think I care?
I call the police. You saw it. I'm gonna call the police.
Fuck off. How much fuck off? How much fuck off?
Hey, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me,
Listen, big man, what's my fucking clock?
don't touch me, you cannot do that,
Fucking clock!
you cannot do that, you cannot do that.
Don't get fucking wrong! And I fucking hate you right there! Listen, big man! Listen, big man!
What is more shocking is that the police, which duty is to arrest the offenders and take them to the Crown Court, in both cases didn't do anything at all, and in one of the cases did not show up. And to escape from a legal action for failing to perform their duties. The police, in connection with the heads of the Freemasons, arranged for a Mason judge to place the cleaner under a civil restraint order. Therefore, he cannot proceed with any action in court against the police, and justice has been denied. This amounts to a violation of the Article 6 of the Human Rights Act 1998, right to justice, but also a brutal violation of Article 3, prohibition of torture, which is an absolute right. The Freemasons also arranged a Freemason judge in the European Court of Human Rights, Armand Haratunian, to dismiss all the claims this cleaner submit against the United Kingdom, despite the fact that his claims have heavy and solid grounds under international law. A very interesting detail is that both the Freemasons mentioned in this video, David Woodfield and Abel Paredes, both in different occasions tried to dissuade the cleaner in his pursuit for justice. David Woodfield has said, "You won't get justice." Abel Paredes said, "They control it." But that is not all. After realizing that the cleaner wouldn't back down in his pursuit for justice, David Woodfield embarked on a course of conduct which included defamation, intimidation, perjury, and at last, he altered and forged the cleaner's statements in order to deceive the judges and prevent the course of justice. To do that, he needed the cleaner to send him the statements in Word format. And to convince him in sending it in Word format instead of paper copies or photographs, he threatens the cleaner of filing one application to strike out the claim. The cleaner did that, and it looked like this. after being modified by David Woodfield, they looked completely different. Please have a look to a quick comparison between the originals and the forged ones. Since the moment David Woodfield forged documents and supplied them to the court, it makes him a criminal. Once both are criminal offenses, and he committed both. So, if Jehovah's Witnesses cannot commit any form of crime, why David Woodfield was not disfellowshipped as it happens with any others? What makes him so overprotected, even inside the congregation? Happens that he is not the only elder in his congregation who is a Freemason. As mentioned before in this video, the congregation secretary Mike Witcher has been a Freemason for many years, and it is also reported that he used to harass some other members in Epsom congregation. A part of him, also Peter Davey the elder's body coordinator, has been identified as a Freemason. Paul Damar is other name with close links to the Freemasons. But after the entry of David Woodfield and Peter Davey into the Masonic Brotherhood, many other elders and others aspiring that position had joined that mundane, demonic and unchaste Masonic Brotherhood. Since the moment they became Freemasons, they are under oath and are obliged to help and protect the Masonic brothers, even if that means that they have to cover up serious crimes committed by one of them. That is exactly the reason why David Woodfield cannot never be disfellowshipped. Because the elders in Epsom congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses are under the Masonic rule, and not anymore under the Bible law.